I think both you and I have been in a space where we've both been very irritated by the sort of stodginess of conservative media, by the fact that so much of conservative media seems stuck in a rut, unwilling to kind of move out of that rut. What do you think that rut is? How do we define it? How do you break out of it? How do you think that the conservative movement can move past its image as stodgy? Because, I mean, you know me, I'm about as stodgy a human being as it's possible to be. I listen to classical music, I go to synagogue on a regular basis, I go home to my wife and my two kids.
Is that stodgy, synagogue?
Apparently. I mean, when we're not planning world domination, it's pretty stodgy.
If your last name weren't Shapiro, that would sound incredibly anti-Semitic.
What?
I would just say, synagogue is so stodgy. I hate those synagogue attendees.
Well, I mean, I don't think you go there for parties. I mean, it's not like there are raves going on at the synagogue. It's not
just a bunch of glow sticks on a rabbi.
But by the same token, obviously, the conservative movement it feels either stodgy or provocateurish. Those are the only two. Yeah. Those are the only two media in which people tend to work, right? You've got like the Milo Yiannopoulos, I'm just going to say stuff and piss people off. Yeah. And then you've got the Paul Ryan, let me wonk you to death.
Right.
How does conservatism find a middle ground that actually appeals to a broader swath of people?
Well, first off, I know that you really hate the sort of the provocateurship, if that's the word, just for the sake of it. And I appreciate that you've delineated between what we do and people who just go out there and say something, racist. I appreciate that because I know, listen, we could get in hot water, and I know that you know our heart and where we come from, and our goal is never to actually just to denigrate people or even necessarily ideas. Oh, some of them, like Bernie Sanders, that's fine. It's here's the solution: what you're doing and what I'm doing. And I think this will actually be the closing segment on this week's show this Thursday. We see people all the time say, "Won't somebody do something?" I mean, how many rooms did we sit in with these underground organizations? I think the cat's out of the bag with that one. People were like, where's the conservative late night? Where's the answer to the Daily Show? And I was at Fox pitching the show that I'm doing for day in and day out for 4.5 years, and them just saying, no, it's not going to work. They paired me up with a guy who was like, he was like 90 years old with 4-year-old kids. Like, that's Old Testament Abraham. I don't even know how that happens. I remember it was so bizarre, and he like had these ideas for like a monkey on roller skates. And what it is just people, and this is true, I know it sounds random, I'm trying to piecemeal together my time there. People say, well, why don't we have this? Isn't someone going to do something? Just be the guy who does something. We're doing the show that we wished had existed. People told me there was no market for it. I'm very grateful for the market that there is for it. And every time we gain a new subscriber or a new Mug Club member, we've raised the ceiling. And we really are just incredibly grateful. I think there are two ways to handle success: to either exalt yourself or to feel genuinely humbled by the responsibility of how much it means to people. And that's honestly how, like when I got off stage at SMU, I remember walking into the bathroom and like crying for a little bit. Because for me as a kid, stand-up, that was kind of a dream come true. To have 2,700 people roaring and cheering. Like for someone else, it didn't mean a whole lot. But for me, that was something that I thought about ever since I was a kid. And you go, oh, what do I do from here? How do I hang on to this? And some of these people were crying because, they had left Islam and now they couldn't talk with their parents or giving me their Navy Cross. So it's just be the person who does something. We're doing the show that we wanted to do. And I know that you, for a long time, listen, you did a lot of AM radio and you appeared on a lot of.
We both slogged in a lot of trenches.
But you finally I know that you were going, why doesn't somebody do something? I know behind closed doors, sometimes people who are more high profile, respectfully, you think they're idiots. I know that you're like, man, I'm 10 times smarter than that guy. And I was going, yeah, you are, but this is just the way the system works right now. And now you're doing it. And now we're doing it. So I just think for people, how does it change? It changes with what we're doing, and hopefully more people out there are doing it. I don't see many Ben Shapiros on the horizon. There are a lot of people who are young and smart. There's no one else out there as far as young comedians. That's what kind of worries me. For me to retire, I would love to pass that torch to somebody. It's going to be 10 years before someone's coming up.
Well, the good news, how old are you now?
31, but I can't do this for that long.
Oh, really? Okay. So how long do you think your
I would love to be able to train someone up, within 10 years and have someone else be doing the
retire at 41?
Not retire, but be able to help the next young Steven
What's your
Crowder.
dream then? So like you just decide not to do this as often, or you do it occasionally, or what?
Again, because I was pitching this show to I'm sure you probably pitched books that got turned down.
Many times.
You were getting published at what, 7 years old?
19, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you didn't look a day past 14, so that's what really counts. But I would love to be the person who said to a young Steven Crowder, this will never work. Change My Mind is not a book that people want. Late night comedy is not something that conservatives want. I would love to be the guy who goes, okay, kid, you're talented. Let's see how hard you work at it, and let me be a wind in your sails here. I'd love to be able to do that eventually. It's really not about myself, because if it dies with me, then it's all for nothing. Unfortunately, there aren't many conservative I don't even say comedians, but entertainers out there, because the system kind of, like you said, it breeds sort of young CNN Crossfire era Tucker Carlson lookalikes when you go to a lot of these conventions. And that's changing now. That's changing a lot. You're seeing a much more diverse group of people, like when I went to speak at YAF. You're seeing a lot of alternative people, people there with tattoos and mohawks. You're seeing a lot of people who are not afraid to at least explore their options. So that's what's important to me, and I would really love to see some more people coming up. They've got to earn it. They've got to earn it, though.
I think this is right. I mean, there's a cultivated skill set. And I've seen it even with you, because I've known you long enough. I mean, I've known you for a decade. So I've seen how, even in the time we've known each other, your comedy has really progressed to the point where, I mean, you were always good, but now you're just terrific in a way that you weren't a long time ago. And that is through cultivation of skill and effort. And I feel the same way about my own career. I've been doing this since I was 17, which means I've been doing this for 17 years now. And I feel like I've gotten better at it because you put in the time and you get better.
You've gotten so many reps in.
Yeah, exactly. Like at a certain point, you really have to cultivate a skill. It feels like the movement spends an awful lot of time promoting people who have not actually spent the time cultivating the skill.
Yeah.
If you either mouth the platitudes, or alternatively, if you troll, then these are the two paths to fame and glory in the conservative movement, which is you say a bumper sticker, or you say something really trolly just to get attention, and then you are celebrated by the people who are glad that somebody said something offensive.
Right.
That's not, I think, where the future of the movement lies.
That's where I'm inspired to see you do so well. Because there was a period, like you and I both know, there was a period not that long ago where we thought our careers were in doubt because it was just the whole kind of trolley or bumper sticker slogan. We both, I remember talking on the phone.
We had many of these conversations.
We're like, man, I don't know if this is the end of this where it's a bumper sticker or just saying something outlandish, but that's not what we do, and we're not going to change who we are. So, your success, I always sort of vicariously live through your success from like, man, I'm glad to see that someone can do what Ben does because he's doing what he wanted to do for a long time. It is more substantive. It is not what media used to be. And guess what? People have been craving it. That means a lot to me. One of my favorite films, like we talk about, we're talking sort of about passing the torch. You ever see The Shootist? Was John Wayne's last film?
Yep.
Okay, so for people who don't know, it's about this guy who wants to live out his last day. I think he has cancer, pancreatic cancer. It's a young Ron Howard, and is it Gregory Peck? And or is it Jimmy Stewart? No, it's Jimmy Stewart. And who's the woman? Is it Annette?
I can't remember.
I don't know. Anyway, but the point is he goes to this town. He's this famous shootist, he's a shootout artist, and he wants to die, so he wants to live quietly, but unfortunately a young Ron Howard lets the word out that this guy is in town and everyone wants to take their crack at him. And at this point, John Wayne has a death wish. He wants to die, so at that point he goes out publicly to the saloon and he can see all of the guys there who are ready to shoot him. And it's a very powerful scene for me because it's the end of the movie, the end of the film, and there's a shootout. And at a certain point, actually, he shot everybody, but there's, I think, one guy left with a shotgun trained on him, and he pauses because he knows he could let this happen, and he wants to die, but instead he turns around and shoots the guy and finishes his drink, and it's kind of melancholic. And it's because he wanted to be taken out, but he wasn't going to give it to him. And that's kind of how I want there to be someone else eventually, but it's got to be someone who, same thing I'm sure with you as you get older when you retire. It's got to be someone who you can entrust with what we've built.
I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Ben Shapiro Show Sunday Special. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.